Welcome to New Tracks Workshop. My name is Jim Kello. I'm the creator and host for New Tracks, where mentors help modelers build. Thanks so much for coming. I hope you come back often and tell your friends about our show. These Saturday workshops are a new project for New Tracks. They've resulted from comments I've received from modelers about scratch building and Chris Blackmar's interest in producing and leading this effort. The segments are structured like the popular build-along segments on our Wednesday evening shows, except these Saturday shows are designed to show modelers how to scratch build a model. I personally believe that scratch building is one of the most creative parts of model railroading, and I think you'll agree if you try it. Here is your opportunity to work with some skilled modelers to learn how to do it. You will learn the steps, the skills, the techniques involved in scratch building a model in any scale you want. There are no kits to buy, only the needed scratch building supplies. The plans that will be used for the model, you can download on your computer at no cost. The show's moderator, Chris Blackmar, is a very talented and artistic modeler, and he and his guest will guide you through the complete scratch building process, one small step at a time. After all, that's what mentoring is all about. If you're a beginner, I hope you'll join in and experience the thrill of completing a scratch-built model and being able to stand back and say, I built that. If you're a more experienced or advanced modeler, I hope you'll join in and offer your advice and knowledge to less skilled modelers and even get some fresh ideas yourself. The live shows will, of course, be recorded on our YouTube channel, so you can refer to the information later if you need to. In addition, I hope you'll visit our website, newtracksmodeling.com, and subscribe. You'll need to confirm the email that you received to verify your address. And after that, you'll receive all of the notice of our future shows, as well as the login links to attend. If you would prefer to watch the series on YouTube, you can do that by going to our channel, New Tracks Modeling, ring the bell, and click all. Therefore, you'll get all of the notice for the start of all of our future shows on the channel. If you can spare a little time, I hope you'll consider joining our management team to help us plan and produce any of our future shows. Please contact me at jimkello@newtracksmodeling.com and let's discuss your interest. So welcome to the New Tracks Workshop. I look forward to seeing your finished models and, of course, hearing any suggestions for future shows you may have. Now, here is Chris Blackmar to start your scratch building journey.
Okay, and hello everybody. My name is Chris Blackmar, and I wanted to again welcome everybody to the New Tracks Workshop show. This one's going to be a little bit different because we're going to start at the end of a session and kind of work forward from there, as this will be an ongoing structure building modeling situation. Will end up each month, or excuse me, each week, and we'll need to kind of store the models until the following week or until your next bench session. So I'm going to go through, first of all, cleaning up my workbench and show you how I do that. Make a few suggestions, look at a couple of tools and a couple of tool tricks through the process, and then we'll go on ahead and get into reviewing the ideas to come up with for making a model and doing a brief bit of research on the model, and then we'll discuss the first scratch build model for this particular project. I believe that I have got modelers on this show right now who will be working in cardstock, will be working in wood, board by board. I believe we've got a styrene modeler, And I will be building it probably out of a scribed sheet siding. And as we go through this, I invite the different modelers to present their modeling techniques, their modeling processes, because everything is not going to be the same, and across the different materials, even between scales. So we'll discuss all of that as we're going along. This is meant to be kind of a informal modeling roundtable. The idea being is that you've just got a bunch of outstanding modelers put together, along with other modelers who can come in, newer modelers or intermediate modelers. And even if you're not working on the structure we're working on, we're interested to see what your structure or what your model is. It doesn't have to even be a model railroad item. I don't care if you're working in styrene and building a airplane. You've got stuff that you can contribute. So this is for modelers, and we'll just work together on this thing and develop the format as we're moving forward to best fit everybody's needs that we have on the show. So first of all, I'm going to change my camera here, so bear with me one moment. And let's see here. I lost my camera, my second camera here. I'm sorry, guys. Please bear with me. I'm doing this by my lonesome. And what happened to my camera? Up, 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 up. Well, this is no fun.
Can you see your participants list?
Yeah, I'm going through it and it's not in there.
You're all the way to the bottom.
Oh, there it is. I wonder why it dropped all the way to the bottom. So much for the alphabetizing, whatever. Thanks, Ken. Okay, so everybody should be able to see my desktop at this point. So I've got here on my desktop, this is how I clean up and will be preparing in between things. The first thing is that I use a bunch of little, they're actually candle holders, the teacup candle holders. And when I open up this box, I've got several of them in here. I buy a box or two of these every 10 years or so, but it's just the teacup handling or teacup candle holders, but they work great for holding water, holding various parts, whatever. If you want to flip them upside down, you can use them to put glue on and use them as a glue thing. But this is what I use. But the point I'm bringing up here is that I've got a bunch of small parts on my desk. So I'm going to take these small parts and just kind of empty them into my little thing here. And that way I've got them stored for next go around. This is just my way of doing it, but it's one way of keeping things kind of handy. And I'm just showing you my way. I know that there's lots of other ways to do it. And then I'm going to put all of that stuff inside a plastic bin or a plastic tub. The trick here being is to use a solid plastic tub or solid drawer plastic. That way you don't have the seams and the little parts won't fall through it. And if you do happen to have a liquid or something that spills or leaks, it's not a problem. So that's the first thing. And then I'm going to throw my model in here. I've got a couple of other walls that I'm working on. And then I have this is a little paint palette, a 6-well paint palette, but it's got some real tiny, basically 2x4s that I've cut down to 18 inches for my wall studs. I'm going to take an Altoids tin and I'm just going to empty that stuff into the Altoids tin for my storage, and that's that. And then I've got that. Another thing that you can use for small storage things is a little Rubbermaid. This is from a silverware drawer set. They're about $9 on Amazon for a complete set. I use those silverware drawers for lots of things, and you'll see some examples of that next. Something you probably can't see, but while we're on that, here's an example of a use of a silverware drawer where I've got some paints and some liquids. Basically, I just use it to store liquids in, so liquids and glues. So this is ready to store, and I'm off and running for next week. And I don't know if anybody has any other ideas on that. If you have any thoughts or anything on how you would store the stuff, now would be a great time to hit that space bar and talk away. I don't want to be the only one presenting here, guys. This is all an interactive thing. Okay. Let's see here. All right. And so that gives me my desktop. So at my desktop, I'm just going to go through and take my knives and things of that nature, and I'm going to go through and put in fresh blades if I needed to. The other thing is, if you have some of these regular everyday X-acto knives that when you lay them down or set them down on a bench and they tend to fall off and sit in your thigh or your foot, just take a piece of tape and put a little piece of tape around the end of the handle here, and that'll stop it from rolling. It's a super cheap fix, and it lasts for about 3 or 4 years, and just piece of tape a few years and you're ready to go. The other thing is store your knives so that they are knife blade down. Don't store them so that knife blade up. You will at some point in your modeling career reach across, catch your hand, your thumb, wrist, or your local cat, drag his belly across it, let them nose open. So store them knife blade down, be it in a container of some sort that you utilize, with it has a rag, blade, or put them in a foam, a polyurethane foam inside a little cracker box that all of my knives and everything are stored in, and you can see that on the back of my workbench here. The only other thing I want to know about safety is when you dispose of your blades, make sure to throw them in a sharps container of some sort. You utilize a small jammer with the lid. You can utilize a sharps container that you can actually go down to your local pharmacy and $10 sharps container, and you get filled up 4 or 5 years down the road. You just take it and back to the pharmacy, and they'll dispose of all your knife blades and everything for you. And the thing that you want to do is just be dropping those knife blades into that waste paper bag, because somebody, yourself or somebody's going to stick their hand in there and cut, or you're going to be pulling out the trash in your shorts and you'll slice your leg or something. It just happens. I don't know. Anyway, so that's kind of where we're at. And at this point, I'm going to move the computer down onto my work desk. And
good comment.
We'll go on ahead. Okay, go, Rich.
I don't know how to make my screen bigger so you can see. I want to hold something up.
Okay, let me go on ahead and highlight you here. And Okay, and you have got the screen at this point in time.
Okay. Coinciding with your last spiel about the X-acto knives, you don't know how often I use this chopper. You don't know how often I've left this handle up on, and I set it down on the floor, and I go to pick it up quickly, and I put my hand under that blade, and I've cut my fingers really severely.
Okay,
You don't want to do that.
okay, okay,
That's all I had. Sorry.
okay,
Gotta remember to always close that chopper.
yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yeah, okay. Anything else?
no, that's all for now. It just
Okay,
made me think of that when you mentioned those knives.
yeah, yeah, no. Rich was telling me the other day that he had managed to stab his thigh with a rolling X-acto
Rolled off
blade.
my desk.
So, right,
They're
all right.
the points of
Um,
the points of those knives are heavy at the blade end, and if you don't have something like Chris just showed you on your knife handle, they will roll.
right, all right. So that tape thing is the cheapest, most effective thing that I've run into or that I've seen that really stops the knives from rolling, and it's just super cheap, super easy to use, and tends to stick around forever. And the nice thing is that you can put the tape anywhere on the handle so that handle continues to fit your hand okay. Some of the other ones, they make some like little squares on the top of the handles there. But for my hand and the way that I hold the knife, that square has real sharp corners and it cuts into the area between my thumb and forefinger, that little webbing area. So, all right, onward and forward. The next thing is, well, we got to come up with a model to generate. So the first thing is, I guess, let me kind of backtrack here and ask, have we got anybody on here that's working in N scale, in like November, the small scale?
Yeah,
The
that's
stuff
my
that-
primary scale, Chris.
Oh, okay. And so you're Dave, okay. And do you tend to model mostly in wood, styrene, or you're muted there, Dave?
I'm going to try using this camera thing. I know it wasn't focusing before, but I changed a setting on it, and I think it might now.
Okay,
I
okay,
want to show you one of my projects I'm working on. and this is-
okay. Well, hang on one second, Dave, and let me throw the spotlight on you, and you have it there. Okay, we see
Right.
your, whatever it is you're holding there. Oh,
All
okay,
right. Here's a little project I'm working on that goes on my layout. It's an idea out of a Model Railroader magazine. It's a bulk transfer terminal for tar, amosite tar, whatever you want to call it. And it's N scale. And I'm basically scratch building this, okay?
wow,
Let me swing back down this way. I think now this probably can focus real good. On the left here, that little block building with the tank, that was a laser cut plywood kit that I bought. This bin here on the left, that's a Clever Models design ostensibly for a coal bin, but I'm going to use it to put sand in it. Okay.
okay,
In the front here is some piping. It's evergreen styrene tubing and rod.
okay,
And I also made the stands out of evergreen styrene shapes.
okay,
This building here, maybe I'll swing it around so you can see the other side. Okay. All right, this building is made to look like a stone cement block, cinder block, if you will.
Uh-huh.
And it was totally built, scratch built in paper and cardstock. The only thing on it is plastic are the couple little vents on the top. That air conditioner unit sitting there, that's a download, actually not a download. I purchased that from a company that designs these things, but it's paper.
Mhm.
Fold it up and print it on my
Yeah.
on my computer. This item here is a I get a little better focused here. There you go. That's a transfer from steam to heat the asphalt. And that's totally scratch built again with styrene tubing and structural shapes and little bitty pieces.
Yeah.
This is a loading stand for tractor trailer tankers that come in. So this is a transload facility. It takes bulk asphalt coming in on rail cars and transloads it into tractor trailer tankers.
Right. Right.
This is, oops, I guess I'm upside down here. That's the front side of it. The only thing that's a commercial item on this are the stairs and the railings, and those are from Plastruct.
No.
All right.
Well, this would be an excellent model to show on the my modeling, my build on the Wednesday night shows, because this is exactly the type of thing that we're kind of looking for on that. And this is an outstanding model, particularly considering that it's N scale. So,
Yeah, the reason I brought it up to show it, I had it in the basement because I thought I would mention that it doesn't have to necessarily be any particular material that's used in scratch building.
right.
I use whatever suits the best.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just going to bring up the fact that you have used multiple materials in the construction of that diorama there. So yeah, no, that's looking wonderful. So, you know, if you continue to build that during the course of this series and stuff, please keep us updated on the various techniques and things as we're moving through this, and how you are applying those techniques or whatever to your particular build on this diorama. That's wonderful.
There aren't any real special techniques, particularly on this, but I did want to show how you can mix and match different materials
Uh-huh.
with. And I'm sorry, but as far as I'm concerned, it all fits. I mean,
Yeah, no, it's a wonderful looking little diorama. And,
plastic doesn't look any better than paper or wood
Yeah.
or anything else.
yeah,
it's
you can't.
effort.
You can't tell what's what. So
No, the effort and the attention that you put into it, it makes a difference.
yes.
Question?
Any-
Question?
Go.
It's Pat Rivard here.
Okay,
Where did
Pat.
you get your plans from on doing that? Do you have photographs or any ideas?
Well, it was an article that was published by Model Railroader. I think it was a series where they said, I forget who, Jeff Wilson, I think, made
A few years back.
made a special magazine or series of articles about industries you can model. This was one of those industries. It's a bulk asphalt transfer point. Now, I made a lot of changes from the original plan, original design, because it was done in HO. And the guy made on a board that was about 5 feet long and a foot wide. I didn't have that much room to work with. I think he has 6 or 8 unloading stations on his model, and I've got 4. And the only space I had to work with is what you see here. It's about 2 inches wide and a distance of, I think it's 19 inches. It sits right on the very front of my layout. And I had to cram everything in between the track and the edge of my layout board. So that's why everything is really shoehorned in here.
So did you draw some of the plans out yourself to get it to that size?
No, there were some plans on that article. Some were to scale, some weren't to scale. So I just kind of eyeballed it, made it to fit my situation. And well, as an example on this building, the original plan called for it to be 20 feet wide and I think about 57 feet long, which is great, except 20 feet wouldn't fit. So I had to cut it down to 18 so it wouldn't overlap the side of my layout board. So, you know, it's easy to do stuff like that when you're scratch building.
Yeah.
If you had a kit that you started with and you had to cut it apart and refit it and everything else, it could be rather difficult to do.
Very well done.
I concur. So, okay. And so I'm going to take you off of the thing here. Actually, I think, Dave, what happens if you click your stop video now? Can you do that for me and see what happens, please? I need to just experience. Okay, wonderful. So, and I'm going to change the spotlight here. And did anybody else have any other comments on that? Okay, and I'm gonna go back up here. Come on. All right, and then let me ask, so we've got at least one N scaler. Are most of you guys, let me go to the opposite end. Anybody doing 1/4 inch besides Jim? I know Jim works in that exotic metal stuff and does O scale. Anybody else?
Yeah, I do O scale, ON30 mostly.
Okay, and who was that?
No, this is Fran
Oh.
Foley.
Okay. And Fran, do you tend to work in wood or styrene, or what's your preference?
Wood more often than styrene, although I'm starting some styrene warehouse, a long warehouse for the back, sort of a backdrop. And I definitely prefer wood.
Okay.
I also did some stuff that maybe later in this series I'll come up. There's a guy named Gary Beatty, if anyone knows him, who his railroad is the Puerto Borracho. It's a whimsical railroad. He's in Southern California, and he slices the blue foam down to 1/2 inch, and he uses blue foam, hot glue, and plaster or spackling compound, and does some fantastic whimsical buildings. And I'll maybe later in the series I'll bring some of those out. They're in storage now.
That's outstanding. Just to let everybody know real quick where I'm going with this. I am planning on the first one, maybe 2 series here after this introductory video of working in wood as the primary focus. Then we will build a structure focusing with styrene, and then we'll build a structure focusing on probably cardstock. And then after that, I was going to focus on foam or plaster simultaneously. I've worked in all of those materials, and I'm very, very comfortable carving in foam as well as plaster. But I've got some examples of stuff too, and I'm very familiar with using the extruded insulation foam, the blue or the pink foam that you pick up from the big box stores for the Home Depot, etc. But I tend to work with, when I'm doing foam, I use balsa foam, which is not readily available anymore in the US. But I do also use a carving foam, which is a polyurethane. And when we get to that, we'll discuss the pros and cons of all of that stuff. But yeah, it's real easy to work with foam and create some foam structures, and we'll go through focusing on that and making it look like wood, etc. With some real easy techniques. The styrene, we'll also look at making it look like wood with some real easy coloring techniques. And the plaster, we'll just have to kind of see how that one goes. But a lot of you guys are intermediate to advanced modelers, it looks like here. And hopefully we can be sharing our knowledge base with the newer modelers and get them to come in and present. So we've got one on the N scale side so far, at least two on the O scale side. And so I take most of the rest of us are HO.
Right.
Except for me, I'm an S.
Yeah, okay.
Got another O
Larry
scaler
McDonald
here.
here. I'm O scale, ON3, O standard.
Okay.
And, I was sorry to hear what you said about the balsa foam. I tried that at a clinic in a convention, and I really liked it because I was calling it memory foam, superior memory compared to maybe the blue extruded foam that you use
Yes.
for insulation.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It does have a better memory. It's easier to carve. The problem is, quite frankly, balsa foam is getting very difficult to get a hold of because it's used in the wind turbine blades. That's why the cost of balsa is going up for those that use balsa as a medium. And why it's virtually disappeared from the US market. It is still somewhat available in the overseas market, and you can still buy some bigger blocks of it once in a while on Amazon and a few other places. But we'll go through all of that stuff on down the road. But you're absolutely correct. It is easier to carve with, but the polyurethane carving foam can work in its stead. It just has some other issues that you have to be aware of. Okay, well, let's go on ahead and talk briefly about identifying a model that you would like to build. A lot of times, let's see here, I'm going to go to the view here. A lot of times the first thing we're going to do is start on our desktop, and we're going to go through and kind of look at what's going on in that. And most everybody knows about using Google and using the search parameters in Google. I just wanted to say that, let's say we're looking at an ice house. If you go through and just type in ice house, you're going to get everything from kids' drawings to, ice houses made for parades and everything, as well as table decorations. So if you want to narrow that down, you would type in a railroad ice house, and that'll give you a bunch of stuff, but it's still going to be pretty difficult to identify something that's really useful in that. And so if you take it one step further and type in image and then railroad and then ice house, you'll readily come up with something that should be useful. And if we do that, we should get through to something that will look like, if I, for some reason here, I'm having a tough time getting this to come up. You'll start finding some sites that are really useful. And for some reason, I'm bear with me 1 second, guys. I'm trying to get this to show up here. Well, I'm not able to get it to show up, so I'm going to kind of skip that. You guys all know what a basic search looks like. I was going to show that in a mineral mining type of situation, I could bring up a site that has a lot of different type of pictures in the single page on the website. And then what I did is I downloaded a few of those for us to kind of look at. I hope everybody can kind of see the plans, or excuse me, the city that I've got here of a Black Hawk or Central City in the Clear Creek area of Colorado. Can somebody verify that you guys are seeing that okay?
No, we only see you.
You only see me. Okay. Let me go back here and try this one more time. Let's see here. I'm still learning the controls here on everything, gentlemen, so I appreciate your indulgence.
If you stop the share and then restart a share and choose the screen that's in the upper left-hand corner, then we'll see whatever you see.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see here. Come on here. Wink. Okay, so for some reason I have, okay, so start my share screen and we'll go over here and go. All right, please. There we go. I was in the wrong tab. That's why I couldn't
Okay,
find it. Okay.
we got it. Mhm.
Okay, here we go. Sorry, gentlemen, for the delay there. And so what I'm looking at here is a picture that I just kind of wanted to bring up, that all of us know how to kind of get to this point. But let's discuss briefly, when you look at one of these pictures, what you can actually glean from them just without really studying them in great detail. So the first thing is, on this one, you can see that we've got bunches of different types of stacks, roof stacks, and different types of roofing materials and setups on the roof. We've also got different materials. We've got a formal brick down here. Over here, we have a rough stone type of structure. Over here, we have some more brick. It looks like we've got some wood over here. And we know that those are wood structures in the background. But the other thing that I really want to focus on, because we've got to think about our building for what we're going to use it in on our layout or in a diorama, is the vertical space of that building or of that structure, or fitting it into the diorama or fitting it into the layout. So always consider vertical space. Always remember too that just because we're looking at the mountains right here in the background or hills, they don't have to be hills to garner that vertical space. You can use like tall buildings, things of that nature, to gain that vertical space to act as a mountain type backdrop. So you can also pick up different industries. This is an industry of logging, but here you've got a lot of different roof types. And again, you've got this vertical space going on here. And notice too, the wood inside the structure. You've got some really worn out, torn up wood here going across the top to something that's fairly clean. And here on this roofing, you've got some interesting edges that you can kind of play with. So your boards don't necessarily have to be overlapped. Here you basically have got some long boards acting as shingles. Over here, we've got a better kept wood structure, but think about the retaining walls. You know, most of us think that our layouts have to start out from the low edge and go to the higher edge. Well, here you could do something simple like have a berm right here in the front, right behind it. I suspect that that's a wood cribbing. I'm kind of going off the idea that part of these logs may be used for wood cribbing to hold that back. It may be stone, but I suspect that it's wood. But, you know, you can always do that. And then you've got the road path coming in front here going up the hill. And so it's kind of this S going around. Also notice off on this side over here, we've got the stairs that accentuate this retaining wall. The retaining wall, it looks to me like it's probably a stone complemented by some wood without just doing a little bit more research. Need to identify that a little bit further, but that gives you a couple of ideas of just kind of going after that. But again, we're looking at the vertical going from a lower to a higher on the backdrop. So bringing all of that together, you can bring it together in a small little area. And here you've got in the lower right-hand corner, a stone structure foundation of stacked stones extending well past the structure. You've got a couple of structures. Here you've got a couple of structures too that's kind of interesting. They've got a door up here in the middle of no man's land. What that's all about, I don't know. We've got a foundation over here, and we've got some walls right behind, stacked stone walls right behind the structures here. And then of course, everything going back up. But you don't have to have great big tall walls. You can see that this is probably a 4, maybe 5 foot tall wall at max. And it'll kind of bring up that vertical. Here again, we've got something a little bit more highly inclined. Here you are using some items to actually kind of focus the eye and to force that vertical movement. You have down below here a stair structure going up the hillside. You've got stacked stone structures. You've got this beautiful stacked stone wall up here, or stacked structure of some sort, and there's pipes coming down. This almost looks like a staircase, but I'm pretty sure it's actually pipes being suspended in between, kind of almost a suspension bridge type thing. But my point is you've got these vertical paths going here. You've got kind of a horizontal path coming across here, sitting right up above this stacked wall. Also notice here the construction materials. You've got some wood over here. This is not a door hanging out in the middle of nowhere. That's actually, they're two slightly different cabins, but this is actually a window. But you've got some 2 different types of brick going across here. And then you've got this board and bat, it almost looks like, and some other large boards. These have to probably be pretty good sized boards, because you look at the size of the horse and the carriage here and the people, and you look at the size boards in this wall, and they're probably pretty good sized. So again, focusing on the vertical, you can have some pretty dramatic things right close up front. If you are looking for space, we can just bring in some foundations. We can use concrete or wood cribbing or stone walls. You know, all of this is right there underneath, and you can have them in good repair, ill repair, and in between. And all of this, again, is coming out of a single page out of the mining.org page here. You can also get some other ideas about stone walls, such as this one. This I threw in because I know that we have some trolley modelers out there. And this shows an idea for those trolley modelers that you don't always have to have picking up passengers in San Francisco with the Rice-A-Roni emblem. And if you don't like mining and stuff in Colorado, you can always have a beachfront. This kind of gives you an idea of this would be an extremely complex model to build, but the point being is you could do something similar to this in a smaller type thing, add some Jason Jensen style buildings in the background. And there you've got kind of a mountain model of something on a river going across. So these are just a few ideas for modeling that we can pick up from the internet and just kind of looking at that. Now, if we go back to our internet and do a little bit additional research, let me go back over here and oops, I did not get it. I missed it, and bear with me one second here, gentlemen. I need to open up one other thing here and yeah, let me make this larger. And I'm going to go back down over here and I'm going to try to share this with everybody. I will get my controls down a little bit more in sequence with everybody here with a little bit more experience. Apologize. I'm still kind of mastering all of this. So if I go to the share screen, and hopefully here you can see a ice storage plant, and hopefully it's full screen for you guys. Is that full screen for everybody?
Yes.
Okay. And so I went through and did a little bit of a search on the internet, and I kind of came up with this structure as a potential structure to start to scratch build, and this would be my basic ideas, if you will, that I'm going to use to scratch build this. Note that I do not have any dimensions on this thing, so I would have to go through and guesstimate the dimensions. It's also something that has multiple different types of material in it. I've got a steel water tank up here. Of course, your pipes and your vents are all steel. It looks like we've got a corrugated metal roof here. Awnings, I don't know if they're meant to be paper or excuse me, fabric or corrugated or something else. I don't know if the tall building over here is corrugated or if it's just horizontal, or excuse me, vertical wood. Looks like we've got some horizontal siding here, maybe some clapboard siding. We have at least one dock here, but if we notice, we are have a second dock on the back side, and we've got some interesting eye candy on the roof. Remember that people who come in and look at your layout or look at your structures, the first thing they're usually going to see is going to be the roofs. So if we add a little bit of eye candy to the roofs, it's going to make your model that much more interesting to your viewers, and will bring more of a finished presentation to your overall modeling. I shared this with Richard, and Richard, I know, is a engineer for bridges and things like that. And so Richard, I know, also is an excellent scratch builder. And so I'm going to highlight Richard here and let him talk about this a little bit and get his input on how he would consider building this structure. And so let's see here. And let me find my Zoom here. I lost my Zoom control, and I'm going gonna stop the share and Richard. Oops. Sorry, I had you there. Where'd you run off to here? I've got you in here somewhere.
I'm
It's-
in here. I just
Yeah.
unmuted myself.
Huh?
I just
Okay.
unmuted myself.
Okay, well, hang on a second. Let me get the,
I was answering Kirk's question in the chat there.
okay. It's real interesting. There we go. I'm finding, folks, just for your FYI, the reason I'm having a tough time is I expected this to be in alphabetical order, and I'm finding that the participants list does not stay in alphabetical order. So that's a new interesting twist. And Richard, I'm going to spotlight you, and you've got the spotlight. So feel free to share your thoughts and what you're doing on this.
Well, I don't really have anything to show you other than that sketch.
Okay, are you
That
able to show that sketch? If
We'll
not,
see.
I can try to bring it up for you here. Hang on a second and let me bring back the spotlight, and I will try to bring it up on my side here for you. Bear with me. Well, the thing is, Rich, go on ahead and talk about the structure as you see it, and how your thoughts about constructing this while I look for this, please.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone today, and I'm thankful to be on here myself. I am a scratch builder in HO scale strictly. The way I go about starting a structure build is I model mainly just by looking at photos. To determine lengths, widths, heights, whatever, I feel that you have to have a sketch. So I always continue or start my builds by drawing some sort of sketch so that when I go to cut my materials out, I'm not wasting anything. I've already determined that my sketch looks pretty good. I never make a mock-up though, and I've been penalized for that by other modelers on a forum that I was in, and they feel that I'm stupid for not making a mock-up, but I think it's a waste of time and it's a waste of materials. I know Chris is looking for that sketch, but maybe I could share my screen. I don't know if I can do that, Chris.
I've almost got it here. I'm just downloading it right now so I can throw it up on my screen.
It's just a basic sketch. It's nothing really great other than
I kind of wanted to show how you were utilizing that. Let me flip over here and see if I can give you the screen again real quick. Yeah.
other modelers might have other ways to start a project like that, similar to that, but I always like to draw a sketch before I do anything.
Okay, Rich, you should be at this point able to share your screen. So if you went down to share and then click on the file that you wanted to show.
Well, do I have a folder on my desktop now. Do I have to have that open before I do that?
I would open it. It's probably easier.
Okay, we'll see.
So sorry, folks, this is kind of a new process for a bunch of it. So there we go. And if you'll bring it up, you've got it. Bring her up.
Can you see that?
Yeah, double click on it to open it.
I did.
It's still a small view to us.
Wow.
Well,
When you first start a share, most people make this mistake. If you just choose the screen that's in the upper left, right before you hit the final share, then you just operate your own screen and we will see whatever's on your screen. So when you started the share, you selected this window with the photos in the window, rather than selecting your home screen as the share screen. So when you double click on that now, you're the only one seeing the opened photo.
oh, okay. So, all right. Well, let's go on ahead. The point being here is that Richard is actually going through, he's a draftsman, and he's going through and taking that blue image, and he is adding dimensions and things to it. And we will go on ahead and throw his ideas up on the website, the New Tracks website, and bring that so that those of you that are questioning some dimensions or something will have a little bit of a base to work from if you want to work from dimensions. Otherwise, you can kind of work at freelance like what I'll be doing. And there's lots of other ways to do this, but I just wanted you to be aware that we'll have something with dimensions, without dimensions, and again in multiple mediums. So, but the idea is to do this structure. The other thing about this structure is that I don't know if you guys are still seeing me or, yeah, you are. So let me share the screen again. The other thing about this structure that's kind of interesting to note is back here on the back side of this structure, this back wall and roof back here on this tall structure. I hope you guys are seeing the blue thing.
Yeah, we see it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This back wall and roof is much shorter than the roofing on this, the opposite side. So it appears that the center of the structure is a little bit offset, if you will, with one roof being shorter, the track side, I'm going to call it, being shorter than the front side, which is, or the back side of the structure, which is what we're looking at right now. So in Richard's dimensional drawing, this will be a much shorter roof than the other roofs. The same thing for the long main part of the ice house here. The opposite side is going to be shorter, with your peak edge being a little bit offset. So as we move forward, we'll discuss that next week when we're cutting the templates, etc. And speaking of templates, we also have Paul Egri on, and Paul has taken this structure and has shown that he can set it up so that if you want to use paper on this, then he's going to make those files available to you. And what I'm going to do here is, bear with me 1 second. I forgot to open up his stuff, and I'll bring it up here. Come on. And okay, and then if I come back over here, share and bingo, and hopefully you guys can see this. This is one of 2 pages that Paul is preparing. And Paul, I'll kind of turn this over to you for a few seconds for you to give your thoughts on what you're doing here for us and how people may be able to utilize this.
Well, this is just like Rich, this is just a drawing for the most part, but I'm using textures. And it's something that I can break this down and actually make a paper model from. Or those of you who like to work with wood or styrene or whatever can use it as a template. Now, this is just a preliminary. It's not anything that is cast in concrete. In fact, Rich, if you would like to contact me when this show is over, I wouldn't mind working with you to do something like this and get a plan so that anybody who wants to do the ice house and work from dimensions can use your plan and dimensions and use my paper as either a model or as a plan.
Okay, and so we appreciate that. And again, we'll be making both Richard's drawing with dimensions as well as this set of drawings or images available on the New Tracks website as these gentlemen complete their preliminaries and turn it into something that's a little bit more useful. But I did want to bring this up front early so that those of you that may be new to modeling or new to scratch building, you realize that you will have 3 different avenues to go down. One is kind of freehanding it. Another is building a model from with dimensions if you really want to go that way to begin with. But at least you'll have the dimensions which will assist you in guiding you through some decisions and cutting processes, which we will be discussing. And then we have Paul, who is creating basically some textured templates so that you can actually cut it out and put it together and throw it on your layout and live with it for a few days, move it, twist it, determine if you need to expand parts of it, shorten parts of it, whatever. So, okay. Well, that brings me up to, let me stop right here. And are there any comments, thoughts, suggestions from anybody at this point in time? It's supposed to be interactive, guys. So we're sitting at a great big round table, just doing our modeling. You guys feel free to talk. It's not I'm not the master at all of this. I'm just trying to run the controls. Okay, well, to kind of start winding down.
Chris?
Yes.
Chris, can I make a comment?
Go.
I think you've had a fantastic first show. You've had about 35 people on Zoom and another 7 or 8 on YouTube watching your first show. And for what you've accomplished, I congratulate you. I think that this is a wonderful idea you've come up with. I think it is a real asset for the New Tracks. And I look forward to many more of these. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you. We are kind of winding down here a little bit, but just kind of in preparation for the show for next week. I'm going to flip my camera over here if I can one more time. So bear with me, gentlemen. And yeah, this is an interesting scenario, trying to run the show and run the controls simultaneously. Okay, I'm switched over to my camera, and I wanted to show you, I will be making my mock-ups, if you will, from a Borden and Riley. Let's see here. Hopefully you can see this. Borden and Riley. It's just some Bristol plate. It's about 120-pound paper. And For me, I find that this weight works really well. And this is what I'll be using to cut my stuff out. You don't have to have Bristol board. You can have cardboard, the back of a cereal box, or you can use straight bond paper if you want. But this stuff, if you wanted to cut it out, make your templates, and then if you want to use this as a sub base where you glue your wood or whatever, if you're doing board by board, this works really well. The other thing is, when I'm working on scribe siding, I'll cut my templates out of this, and then I'll actually put this, on the back of the scribe siding, and it helps avoid the splitting of the scribing material. So this is what I'm going to be using, but you don't have to have this exact thing. I'm just bringing it up that if somebody's interested to get something for next week, because you will want to have an X-acto blade handy, a ruler handy, any of your drafting tools if you have it, and some sort of cardstock, cardboard, whatever. I'm also going to be using some black construction paper on the roof, and it's just 50 sheets of black everyday construction paper. And this is also a paper that I use on the interior of my models a lot, and we'll go through that on how I do it. There's lots of other ways to skin the cat, and I look forward to seeing and hearing some of the other ways to skin a cat. Again, I'm just going to be presenting on how I actually do the scratch building. So I apologize up front here that we did not get into doing some cutting and getting a few bloody fingers and enjoying ourselves a little bit, but this show series is designed to the full process of scratch building, going from the very beginning, which is identifying an idea, identifying the places that you can quickly find a few ideas, a few examples, and then working from that. So I want you to feel free to comment and give us ideas. And I invite you strongly to come back next week, tell your friends about us. And if you haven't done so and you're new, please subscribe to the New Tracks Modeling website on YouTube and Zoom, and or so that you get the Zoom notifications, and subscribe, and then that way every time I click the on button on Saturdays, you'll be notified that we are live and ready to roll. I am going to here momentarily cut off the live Zoom, or excuse me, YouTube feed. And I invite everybody to kind of hang on for a few more extra moments and let me know any issues that they saw technically, as well as if you have any other ideas for this first show, because it's just that kind of the first show, and I'm out here in the woods running it by myself. So I want to thank everybody, and happy modeling, and keep building. Don't just store those models.
Chris, can I say something? Can I say something before you stop the recording? You have an awful lot of people viewing the show. And as Chris said, all of the New Track shows are participatory shows. Chris, the way that he is running it is fantastic, but he needs a lot of help. I needed a lot of help when I started New Tracks, and Lord knows I still do every time I come on the air. So if one of you can step up and volunteer to help Chris so that he's not trying to run the show and show you how to scratch build at the same time, I think that it'll be so beneficial to you. Ultimately, you'll learn a lot more maybe about what's involved in our shows. I know Chris would appreciate the help, and I really encourage somebody that is on the show anyway to be willing to step up and help Chris in some way. Maybe not do the total running of the show, but just help do certain parts of it that will free him up to concentrate on showing you the scratch building techniques that he wants to share with everybody. And you can either send an email to Chris directly, and Chris, you might want to tell him what your email is. It's Chris Blackmar at
Actually,
Neutral.
Jim, I'm gonna be using for this a email address of Chris, Kris, B is in Bravo, Nutrax. So Chris B Nutrax at Fastmail, FASTMAIL .us, real different. So it's Chris B Nutrax at fastmail.us.
Wow, he's still on there.
Thank you so very much, Chris. I appreciate it.
Okay. And with that, I'm going to go on ahead and let the YouTube folks enjoy their afternoons. And I look forward to seeing you back